Denver Broncos fall to 0-2 after another ugly offensive performance from Bo Nix. Things are getting so bad they called me in to help out Todd at the postgame show. It starts in 30 seconds. Oh my goodness. What is up, everybody, and welcome to a Loser's Lounge edition of the Denver Broncos postgame show. Broncos score 6 points?
Yeah, that's what the scoreboard said.
That's what the scoreboard said. 13-6 they fall. I'm Adam Mattes, usually on Nuggets, filling in today on the Broncos show, but I'm joined by the star of the show, Todd Davis. Todd, I'm telling you, man, I've been excited for like 15 seconds this year so far watching this team, and none of them came today.
Yeah, this was not their best performance, and I'm starting to feel like we're getting tricked. Like, this is not the new Denver Broncos. This is just Denver Broncos of the old in new unis.
I think it was RG. He had the post, the Scooby-Doo, where you lift off the mask and it's the same Broncos. That's definitely how it feels. But nonetheless, there's a lot to break down. We're going to talk about Bo Nix and some of the things that you saw today. We're going to play the blame game because it's not just the quarterback. I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on. We're going to try to look for positives. We're going to go around the association. We're going to do a bunch of different stuff today. But, of course, we are presented, as always, by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. All right, let's get right into it. I'm going to give you a quick breakdown just to what happened. This 13-6 is not like a lot happened. Usually when you recap a game, there's touchdowns and stuff to go over. Yeah. Steelers get a scoring drive right off the bat. Darnell Washington catches a touchdown. They get a pair of field goals over the next two quarters, so it's 13-0. And then this is where things get interesting. You have that trick play, right? Like the Broncos aren't getting anything going. You get a trick play. Bo Nix's best pass of the game gets him all the way down. I don't remember, like the 8-yard line or something like that.
Yep, right down there.
And then immediately throws an interception right after that. So that was the moment where the Broncos were going to get into it. Doesn't happen. They get a late drive, another late drive, get a field goal out of it, and then elect to kick with 1:54 left. They get the stop, but with only 9 seconds. Very strange play call. And so the game ends, of course, 13-6. That's a rough overview of how this game unfolded, but let's start with big takeaways. What's your big takeaway from this one?
My biggest takeaway is Bo needs more time. We love to have quarterbacks come in and start right away in the NFL, but it's a hard league to play in, man. I just don't think he's ready for the moment just yet. I think he's talented. I think that he's a smart quarterback. But from what I've seen, 2 picks in back-to-back games. I know the last one was a Hail Mary attempt, and he's trying to make something happen. But overall, I just didn't feel like the production was there. I mean, the first half, he had 39 yards. That's not all him. I mean, a little bit of that is play calling. Some of that's guys dropping the ball. But nonetheless, I just feel like Bo needs more time.
The Hail Mary is a funny one because Hail Marys usually are like 40, 50 yards up in the air. That one was like 35-yard pass, maybe. It wasn't even, as far as Hail Marys go, that one was kind of weak. But you're right, 2 interceptions. He had 2 last week, so that's 4 total. Probably easily could have been 6, 7, 8 on the year based on what we saw. And this is my thing, man. I'm not the football guy, but Bo Nix, what excited me about him, very smart, was picking things up early. It's a complex system, but he's really grasping it. Through 2 weeks, what stands out to me is it doesn't look like that. He looks like every other rookie quarterback, making bad reads, getting panicked, missing open guys. So to me, when you say more time, is there anything about it that you look at and say, hey, there's something here?
No, not at the moment. I'm not looking at anything and say, oh, he does this nice. If he can just clean up this other area, then we know we'll have the guy that we, drafted and the guy that we wanted. It's tough. I feel like Peyton Manning said specifically he did not want Bo to break his rookie interception record, but the track that he's on, he will definitely break that record, and that's not what he wanted because coming out of college, he threw 5 interceptions all year long last year, and that was one of the best things about him is that he held onto the football. We all know that Sean Payton hated Russell Wilson because of how frivolous he was with the football and how he didn't make the throws he was supposed to. It seems like it's happening again. I know that more things are happening. I know guys are dropping balls, but it just doesn't feel like we're on the rise. It feels like we're in another year where we need to find pieces.
And when you talk about picks, like there's a couple different types of picks. The one he had today in the end zone. Right foot. It just was such an ill-advised play. Like you saw it the moment you throw it. And last week we all remember the play call. Oh no! As soon as the ball left his hands, you knew that was a bad decision. I felt like it tonight, and that's what's so concerning. Is picks happen. Young players make mistakes, but they're the mistakes when you see you see him getting ready to wind up, and you're like, oh no, and that's what I saw tonight.
Yeah, he didn't take into account the backside safety. I mean, nobody ran when it was wide receivers over, so you have to know there's one more guy back there that'll probably be sitting high. So when you see Courtland Sutton coming across the field, he looks open, but you have to know based on the defensive play call that you're getting that he's not going to be open if you let this play extend past the goalpost.
So what's so different? Because again, if I go back to the preseason, you go back to his college career, that was part of what was so impressive. You didn't see those types of plays.
Yeah.
What is it you think he's experiencing that is so different? Because that, again, interceptions I would expect, missed calls I would expect, that kind of stuff, but the off a back foot stuff, I didn't think I was going to see. So what do you think is different about it? Is it the speed? Do you think the pressure is now starting to feel a little different?
I think he made some of those throws in college, and I think they were successful.
Gotcha.
So I think that he's trying to do what he did in college. The only thing that is happening now is that he's not getting the vanilla defenses of the preseason. He's not getting vanilla college defensive schemes. He's getting stuff where guys are moving, guys know their assignments, and they're executing at a high level. So you have to be able to be perfect, and I just think that he's not there yet. I'm okay with him making mistakes, but there's just certain times in the game where you can't have it. You know what I'm saying? After a big play, you're on the 8-yard line, you're finally going to get the team back into it. I'd rather you throw it to the check down and, live to play another down than try and take a shot and it ends up being a turnover.
How costly do you think that interception? I keep coming back to that play. Obviously, there's other ones, but that was the game.
We lose by 7.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where you put, the stamp on the game that sealed it. Like, I think if the Broncos are even able to come up with 3 there, then at the end of the game, you're not trying to get 7. You're trying, we still need 4, but you're in a different position. You're in a different mindset. And maybe you do kick an onside at that point if it's a closer game and you're not down by 7 points.
And it's not even that. We're going to talk later about momentum and just how the team is it starting to unravel this or that. But a lot of it is just how do you feel? There wasn't a feel-good moment in this game, except for the trick play, little flea flicker or whatever. That was like a feel-good moment.
But it didn't feel good. At least for me.
It felt great to me.
For me, I feel like as a player, when you can't make things happen and you have to resort to trick plays to get one splash play, that means you're not talented enough to be executing at a high level. It didn't feel good to me. It felt like, all right, we got one. That was good. But it didn't feel like there was no sustained offense there. Right. Now, if you have 10 trick plays in your bag that work in a game, okay, you can put some together. But I didn't see another trick play the entire game. And that's why I felt like we never got in scoring position again.
See, I always wonder this, defensive player, you're watching the offense go, and a trick play like that, it is momentum, because it was, I don't remember how many yards, but it is momentum. It gets you in the red zone and all that. But what you're saying is, veteran player, you've been around the league, you're kind of like, all right, that's cool, but I would rather see just something a little bit more solid. And then, of course, immediately an interception after that. So if you're watching that, I just feel like that was so deflating to the morale of the team and everything else, because it was like, all we got is that. We can't even convert at that point.
Yeah, and even as a defense, when I'm playing an offense like that, I'm like, man, give them that. They ain't got nothing all game,
Really?
Yeah, they got one play. That was a trick play. Good trick play. We'll get you. You know what I'm saying? You can't do anything else. That's my mindset.
You're right. Is there something you're seeing here? I mean, he's throwing a lot of passes, so obviously 20 of 35 today. They're giving him a lot of passes, a lot of a lot of receivers, Sean was watching the game with you. I know a lot of these drives were starting 5-out receivers. Yeah. It's clear they're trying to do a lot of passes, a lot of these reads. Is that extra difficult for a young guy? Is there something you think that Sean Payton, is he purposely kind of throwing him into the fire saying 35, 40 passes, that's what we're doing? And maybe scale that back a little bit as we go forward?
I don't know. I think it's tough. I feel like I do need to see more running game, but I think for the overall success of the Denver Broncos, I need to see Bo get comfortable. And what's more comfortable for a young quarterback to have 5 wide? You can tell if his man or his zone, and you should be able to get the ball out now. I mean, it's a 3-step drop, find the receiver, and throw the football. So I think they're doing that to get him warmed up. And then you mix in that little QB draw that they ran. I think that was a great play to run off of the 5 wide.
Right. We kept wondering if we were going to see more of that.
But we didn't. But I think that's why they're getting into those sets, is they're trying to find ways for him to feel comfortable, because it doesn't seem like under center or in the shotgun that he really is able to pick apart defenses just yet.
So I thought it was interesting that you said like everything's kind of vanilla in the preseason. You go back to college, it's vanilla. Then you get here and things get a little bit more complicated, and that's part of it. But what about now? Bo Nix is 2 games in.
Yep.
There's 2 games of tape. If you're a defensive player and you play Bo Nix in week 3, are you looking at this going like, almost licking your chops? Because it's like, I see what they're struggling with, and we kind of know where to put the pressure on them.
For sure. I think that if I'm a defender coming into week 3, you always want to make the team you're playing one-dimensional.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm saying Bo Nix is young. It doesn't feel like he can get it done. Okay, We're going to stop the run, and we're going to make Bo Nix beat us. If he beats us, that's fine. But for right now, we're going to load the box. Javonte's not going to have more than 30 yards, and we're going to see if he can beat us on the outside with the deep throws and, the low percentage passing routes.
What do you think is that what you would say is the most difficult right now? Is like anything outside of that? That he's struggling with?
Yeah, I feel like for Bo right now, he's able to hit, the check downs, the 5 yards over the ball. I think his game that you saw today, there was a couple of different routes. There was like a deep 7 route in cover 2 where he could have dropped it in the, in the basket if he was, at his peak performance. Gotcha. And I just think he's not hitting those sideline routes, and that's where you have to hit if you want to be really good in the NFL. It's like that 15 to 30 yard mark on the sideline. You got to be able to hit those routes to be a very, very successful quarterback.
And then not quite to the level of last week, but there were some drop passes in this one. So I mean, even that, like right now, it feels like everything has to go perfect just to get first downs. I mean, there's a handful of 3 of outs, but it wasn't a ton of drop passes, but it was some.
There was, and I think that we can't have that. For a rookie quarterback, we need to be our best to help him out while he's growing in this time. So I think there was 3 or 4 drop passes today, and that can't continue to happen. I know Greg Dulcich, you're finally in there. You're finally healthy. We need you to catch these passes when Bo, throws them to you. And in all actuality, I think there was 2 drives stopped because he dropped the ball. So I think that has to be cleaned up because although we want Bo to be better, we need the help from our older veteran guys to be as good as we can.
He looks to, I mean, I hate to play, one of the worst things analysts do is play body language doctor, but it was a little late in games. They get the close up on him, and it just looks like Bo's got the weight of the world on him. So I almost wonder if this, to me, it feels like this gets harder before it gets easier. You know what I mean? Like he's going to have to overcome a hard game to make some plays rather than like it's just going to slow down from over time.
Yeah. I think it's tough because he did start off with 2 tough defenses. The Seahawks have been playing hard. Right. The Steelers are a very good defense. Tampa Bay's no slouch either, and then you go right back into New York Jets, who are a top 5 defense too. But he did start off with the toughest defense, so hopefully it gets better over time, and that defenses aren't as good as the year progresses.
All right, that's on Bo Nix. We're going to talk a little bit more about him, including what's he going through. I know we were talking before the show. You've been around some young guys who had a lot of expectations, and how they handle that really affects the entirety of the season. So we're going to get to that and a whole lot more, including the blame game. Who else is to blame for this one on the other side? But first, let me tell you guys about some of our presenting sponsors. Coach Prime wants to help you and other Coloradans be your healthy selves as the Chief Motivation Officer of UC Health's Ready, Set, Co Challenge. The goal of the challenge is to get Colorado back to its rightful place as the healthiest state. This actually bugs me. Colorado has always been known as the skinniest state, and the healthiest state, the fittest state. And now we let too many people come in from Pittsburgh, from Dallas.
Why did you point at your hair when you that's crazy. Everybody saw his head. He's like, we got too many people coming in.
Pittsburgh. I was just pointing at
Adam always been doing this, man. He's always sneak dips in, and then he gets
we let too many people in, and all of a sudden we're no longer healthy as Coach Prime at UC Health.
The worst part is that you're from New Mexico, and I'm Colorado.
Part of that challenge is mindfulness. So Mindfulness Prime is here to encourage us to chill, whatever that means to you. Music, meditation, connecting with nature, painting, and yoga. I connected with nature. You ever go up to Rocky Mountain National Park in fall?
No, I haven't yet.
Gorgeous, man. I'm telling you. I went up there over the weekend, connected with nature, and I was nice and chill all the way until the Bronco game, and now I'm right back to reset. If you want to join UC Health's Ready, Set, Co Challenge, click the link in the show notes or go to www.uchealth.org/readysetco.
And shout out to our friends over at Toyota. Right now, we're not in Toyota Lounge, but you know that our show is usually brought to you by the Toyota Lounge, and we love Toyotas to death. The trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you're conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, like Bo is right now, there's a Toyota truck that is just right for you, like the all-new 2024 Tacoma and the return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser. I see those Land Cruisers all around town.
Those are so
and
sick.
I'm about 5 seconds from getting one myself because I think they're super dope. And if you want any type of car, whether it's a four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, you want a hybrid, they have 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. You definitely won't be disappointed if you go with Toyota. And we want you to visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you, specifically the AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe and Centennial, the Corwin Toyota in Boulder, the Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain State Toyota in Denver, Stevenson's Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson's Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
There you go.
Oh, man.
All right, back here, segment 2 of the DNVR Broncos podcast. Zac Stevens is going to be joining us live from the stadium here in just a little bit. I can't imagine it was a great locker room, so excited to hear from him. If there's one person that can be energetic after this,
energy, for sure.
And if he doesn't, then it's like
it's really bad. Like Zach doesn't have energy.
We're in a bad spot. A couple injuries real quick. John Franklin Myers was ruled out with a concussion early in the game. Baron Browning did not return with a foot injury. Any notes on those just off the top?
I think John Franklin Myers is a big part to this, two-line rotation that the Denver Broncos have kind of put together. I think that's where they got the best over the offseason was their defensive line. So we definitely need John Franklin Myers to be healthy. Baron Browning, our starting outside linebacker, I think he's having a great season so far.
Yeah.
Sucks to have him injured because he's good in the run game and the pass game. You now put in Nick Bonito, who is a solid pass rusher, but we definitely feel like we lose just a little bit in the run game with Baron Browning out.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the blame game because we just spent a whole segment on Bo, and I'm going to ask you to put this in order of who you are blaming. And we could say this game, you could maybe even extend it a little bit to say this season so far, even though it's only 2 weeks in. Is Bo, first of all, is Bo number one? Again, not necessarily mad at him, but just is he number one line item of why the Broncos are where they are?
Unfortunately, yes. I think he has to be at the top of the list. And I know he's a rookie, so we have to give him a little bit of leeway. But as of right now, I mean, the multiple interceptions, the drive stoppers, and the inability to kind of find open receivers, I think is the reason why the Broncos are in the position that they are now. So first and foremost, I think the blame has to go on Bo.
So does that mean if Bo, not that we see the signs of this happening, but if it is, all right, couple weeks out of the way, everything kind of improves, that you see like this could be a steep learning curve. It's just the Bo piece of this gets to average, everything else is going to start to fall into place.
Yeah, I would like to say yes, but it seems like when Bo does find the open receiver, they can't catch the ball.
That's true. Yeah.
So I would like to say once Bo keeps finding guys and everybody will be all right and we'll be on this happy train to win in 10 games like we all predicted. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's Bo is number one, but I think it's definitely more than Bo. I think number two is probably drop passes.
Drop passes number two.
Absolutely. I think there's too many drop passes.
How many were there today?
I think there was 3 or 4.
3 or 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you look at when they occur, it's always
that's what it is.
It always
timely.
stops the drive. Anytime that we're get the ball rolling or we feel like we have the team on their heels, we're finally making things happen. That's when we choose to drop the ball. Or 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7 where we get the first down, we drop the ball. Then I think for a linebacker, what I'm saying, linebackers make middle of the road money. Yeah. To see wide receivers.
Yeah. Okay. Here it goes. I love
paid
this.
All that money.
We need music for whatever Todd has to complain about the other position players.
And you got one drop.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's all you came here to do. You're only going to get 2 chances. You dropped one of them.
Come on.
You got paid the full price though.
Full price. Big bag.
I like this one. All right. So Bo and drop passes 1-2. Who else deserves a little piece of the blame game here? Let us know in the chat, by the way, as well. I'm kind of curious. Obviously, Bo. People are going to obviously go with Bo, but I want to hear what else people are most upset with.
I'm going to say the O-line.
I think that's what I had on my list.
I think the O-line hasn't been playing at the level that we've wanted them to play. I think Quinn Miners also got a bag to be a dominant force, primarily in the run game. I think that his pass blocking has always been good or average, but he is a dominant force in the run game, and I don't see the push from him that we saw last year. I know he put some extra weight on, but I think that the O-line as a whole is not getting any push. Yeah. Time and time again, whether it's Javonte or Jaleel, they're getting hit in the backfield. So I don't know how you expect positive plays when guys are already evading defenders 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That'll never work. So O-line will have to be number 3 for me.
Real quick on that point, do you know who led the Broncos in rushing tonight?
Who?
Bo Nix.
Of course. Back-to-back
not
weeks.
necessarily great.
Back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, back-to-back weeks. You get 17 for Javonte Williams, 16, that one run from Batty, and then McLaughlin, 3 carries for 6 yards. So not a ton of rushes, but on top of that, not a lot of yards.
No, we can't have that, guys. We need more effort from our running game, and that's the reason why you don't want Bo throwing the ball 35 to 40 yards. But if we're getting 1 yard, 2 yards a pop rushing, he has to throw the football. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, as a defensive coordinator, I'm playing the Denver Broncos. I'm going to load the box. You are not going to run the ball.
Right.
Now you got to beat me some other way. And the only other way is passing. And right now they can't get it done.
This feels like a snowball effect is what it feels like. Almost like now the teams can put the pressure on. It's like not till you climb the hardest part of this. All right, so O-line is next. I got a couple more. Who else? Who would be on your list next? Or who or what?
What at 4 would probably be the play calling for me. I don't know if I love the play calling and how it's setting the team up for success. It feels very, very like short, choppy steps to get down the field and hoping that the other team makes a mistake or that one of our wide receivers is able to make somebody miss and get yards after the catch, and that's not happening right now. So I would love to see more plays implemented that give us big splash, but like that trick play that we had, that was the best play we had, and it was one of the only times I saw somebody truly wide open on the tape.
Right.
So I think we need more plays, not necessarily trick plays, but a different set of schemes that allow guys to be more wide open, so Bo can hit somebody in stride, 15 yards down the field, and not feel like he's about to throw a pick or somebody's running into somebody's zone.
This is the part that most surprises me, though, because Bo's struggling. Like some of the stuff we talked about, it's not horribly surprising, but play call was not one that I thought was going to be an issue. I thought that was going to be a strength.
Yeah.
So does it surprise you?
It does.
And what does it mean?
It does surprise me, and I think that the reason why it is being schemed the way it is to protect Bo, but I feel like it's hurting him more than it's helping him. And, he's marching down the field with these little small passing plays. Yeah. But the minute he doesn't connect or he makes an errant throw, okay, now it's 3rd and 10 and we have nothing to show for it. We ran the ball on first down. We got no yards.
Right.
And then the second down, we threw a ball that wasn't favorable. So now all he is comfortable doing is throwing 5 to 6 yard routes. On 3rd and 10, that just puts you in 4th and 4 territory. Like we're punting again.
Right. The 3 and outs kill me. Like I'm telling you, we go 0-17. I will take it as long as there's not back-to-back 3 and outs. That's my own rule as a football fan. Like the last 7 years, I just feel like it's 3 and outs. They pile up, and there's nothing worse than that. And that's the thing about, the Broncos being bad, you can stomach. The Broncos being boring, you can't.
Yeah.
And if they're both, it's like forget it. And that's the biggest thing to me is these 3 and outs. Play calling has a lot to do with it. What about penalties? We were talking about this a little bit.
Way too many penalties.
124 yards of penalties today.
It was terrible today, and it was actually bad on both sides of the ball. I saw the offensive line had way too many penalties, and then also the DBs. Very uncharacteristic for our DBs to have as many penalties as they did today. But this was definitely not the Denver Broncos that we want to see as far as penalties are concerned.
What about going back to play calling, going back to penalties? First of all, the PJ Locke pass interference, 6 minutes 22 seconds.
I think that's trash. I don't know what you expect the defender to do. My job is to dislodge him from the ball. Now, as I am tracking him and trying to make a good, solid hit, if he falls below where I am already targeting, how is it now my fault to protect him? Yeah. And on top of that, it wasn't a crazy hit.
Yeah.
But I feel like, offensive players need some responsibility for protecting themselves because I have a job to do. I can't just let you catch every football that comes your way. Like, I need to make plays as well.
Right. And then we talk about play calling. This in the NBA, when the league I cover, when a team is down like 3 points and there's 5 seconds left, some teams will go for a quick 2. And it drives me nuts because I'm like, there's 5 seconds left. You wasted 2 of them to get a 2. Now there's 3 seconds left. You got to get a foul, inbound the ball, and score. Like the time's running out. Kicking the ball, it was so obvious. First of all, there's a little momentum. Another late drive. What do you know? Another late drive. You get a field goal. You're down 1 touchdown. To not go, I know an onside kick is a Hail Mary in and of itself, but to go to kick the ball at that moment, knowing that even if you get stops, you're getting the ball back at 15 seconds, best case scenario. I'll never understand it. I don't know what the analytics say, but kicking the ball there to me cannot be better than just attempting an onside kick, even if you only recover 1 out of every 20.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't, because push come to shove, they're still going to run the ball, try to get a first down, and you would have a similar amount of time on the clock, whether they got the ball after an onside or they got the ball after you kicked it deep. The only thing that would change was your field position, but I mean, with 9 seconds left, I mean, the game's over.
9 seconds left. If you're on the 18-yard line or the 2-yard line, it doesn't matter. You need a miracle.
Honest. Exactly, either way. And I think we should have taken advantage of that and should have taken the shot there to be able to get the ball back.
It's absolutely wild to me. Is there anybody else in the blame game that you think? We haven't talked defense.
I think defense as a whole has to be in the blame game. I just feel like defense is playing really well.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they have brought themselves into the blame game because with the way that things are set up now, you can't play really well. You have to play perfect.
Yeah.
And they just weren't perfect in definitely the first drive of the game.
Yeah.
I think that put the team playing from behind the rest of the day, and I think that wasn't a good space for our young quarterback and young offense to be playing from.
That's a great point, because the defense I thought was actually solid. There weren't a lot of drives from Pittsburgh, but to your point, it was right away.
Yep.
So you're playing with that extra pressure. I didn't think of that.
And I know the score said 13-6, but the game I watched, Justin Fields was having a day.
Yeah,
if there wasn't a few holding calls, and
how about that pass he dropped right in?
Man, some holding calls that wouldn't even affect the play. Like the play was going regardless of if they hold it or not. Like Justin Fields was balling.
We're talking about Justin.
There was a couple different. There was a touchdown taken away. There was a deep pass taken away.
Yeah.
Like he was on his game, and there was just guys around him that were making mistakes. But I didn't feel like the defense was in full control of the game.
Yeah.
I know the score says 13, and then hats off to them teams making mistakes, and we got to be able to capitalize on it. But it didn't feel like a overall great day.
And we just talk about, offense, Bo Nix struggling, going up against top defenses. Well, defense going up against some offenses that we don't think will be. Seattle and Pittsburgh, we don't expect that to be a... Absolutely they're kind of doing their job in terms of numbers-wise.
Yeah.
All right. What about this one? And I asked you, shout-outs. We just did the blame game. Let's give a little love. Do you have a single shout-out?
Right now, I don't, man. I don't have a shout out. I don't know.
We are down so bad, you hear?
Will Lutz for doing his job.
Will Lutz. I mean, he did make his field goals. He didn't miss anything, and he had us nervous on the last one, but ultimately he made all his field goals. So I guess if that's who I want to give, if that's who you hear thinks should receive a shout out, let's give him a shout out.
I have one shout out. The jerseys. They're growing on me.
They look good.
They look good. I didn't like them when they first came out, but sometimes you got to see them a little bit. Let's take a break. I think we got Zach from the arena. Let's take our last and final break here, and then we'll go and hear from him from inside the locker room. Let me tell you guys right now about Bet365, never ordinary. Every day, we power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more with over 10,000 boosts every single month. We boost specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. Keep an eye out for those custom DNVR bets and boosts today. Man, the DNVR, we have to get real creative with these DNVR bets because they always have like Broncos winning, and at the moment, I'm like...
The other two hit.
The other two hit. Yeah, we just missed out on a single one. This is a great time of year, though. We got Avalanche hockey coming back online here in about 4 weeks. We got Nuggets basketball coming on here in a couple weeks. We got CU. You saw what they did over the weekend. And we got Broncos. Lots of different things to bet on, or you can just throw a bet down on one of the other games going around in the association. And right now, new customers can choose between two offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use that code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer, or place a bet of $5 more and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, or first bet safety net. You offer by placing a bet up to $1,000, and if your qualifying bet loses, you receive a match refund in bonus bets. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Shout out to Coors Light, the only beer that is specifically made to chill. When the mountains turn blue, it is cold as the Rockies, and that's how you know it is time to chill. I think Coors Light is a fantastic beer for what all of Broncos country is going through right now.
It got me through this game.
We got to chill. We got to take a deep breath. It's going to get better. I know Bo is struggling, but with some Coors Light, you're going to be able to take a deep breath. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged for a smoother finish. When you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Remember to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right. If anybody can pick us up and give us some perspective after that one, it is our guy, Zac Stevens, who is live from the stadium. Do we have him here? We patched him in? Oh, my gosh. Zac, we need you, man. We need your energy.
I need a Coors Light right now is what I need, guys.
I think we need a bunch of those, man. Well, tough one. Take us inside, man. What did you see from the stadium and sort of what was the mood in the press conference today?
Well, look, everything was off. Before the game even started, we had the game was delayed a minute because of other games that bled in. The flyover was, I kid you not, a minute after the national anthem ended. We had some hot mics during the game as well on the field. And then in the post-game press conference, Sean Payton, the lights went off on him. So everything was off in this game. Outside of the defense, I mean, credit to the defense. You hold the team to 13 points. You deserve to win, but obviously the offense kind of followed the rest of the environment that was here, just not clicking, not doing its job. Still really in preseason form, but I guess I can't say preseason form because preseason form, the offense actually looked really good, including Bo Nix, and there's just nothing good from this offense right now. 6 points, 2 field goals. You don't get a touchdown, 62 yards at half and after the game. I think the biggest word right now in Broncos country is frustration. And I think fans, Broncos country itself and fans, are angry, frustrated. They're mad. They're like, are you kidding me? This again? Inside the locker room, it is frustration, but it's not pissed off frustration. And we've seen that in the past. I mean, Todd, I've been in locker rooms with you after games where the defense is, when it's week 15 and you guys hold the team to 10 points and you still lose, that's like, okay, man, what can we do? Like pissed off. It's like, can the season just end soon? We're not there now. And I know Broncos country is kind of there already, which is insane and sad because it's only week 2. But I got to tell you, inside the locker room, it's not like that. They are far too. He didn't try to make excuses, but he did say, look, last year we started 0-2 and everyone was counting us out. We were on a 5-game win streak. When we were with Teddy Bridgewater, we started 4-0 and then we had a 1-5 streak down the season. So keeping it in perspective that there's still 15 games left. But saying that, you cannot never have 62 yards of offense and 0 points in the first half. I mean, when we have to draw on Pat Shurmur to explain what's going on, that's really bad. And Pat Shurmur once had a saying after a Broncos game where they didn't score in the first half. He said, well, sometimes teams don't score in the first half. That's become a mockery in Broncos country over the years. And unfortunately, I never thought we'd see it with Sean Payton. And we did see it with Sean Payton here. So obviously, you can just look at the box score and know exactly what went wrong here. The offense is just inept, and really the defense starts playing prevent defense and gets the Broncos maybe an extra 3 points there. But Sean Payton last week after the game, he said this starts or everyone around Bo needs to be better. Today, he still said that, but he started to point the finger more at himself, which I think is absolutely right. I think that's where it starts.
Well, what about confidence? Because as much as I think that is fair, and we're 2 weeks into this, it's pretty obvious. We just played blame game, and he was line item number 1. But what about the confidence? What do you take away from what you saw from him behind the scenes?
Yeah, Bo Nix was frustrated, very frustrated after the game. In fact, one question he was asked, can you take us through that interception in the end zone? What happened, which was a turning point in the game. If he doesn't throw that interception, the Broncos might win the game right there. That was a 7 to 10 point swing right there. You cannot put the ball in harm's way. And you could just tell his frustration after the game because his explanation for it was, I dropped back, threw it to the wrong team, and that was it. And so you can tell that the rookie is getting frustrated, getting short with reporters already, and that's going to be something where he's a captain of this team. He is a rookie, but he can't really act like a rookie. That is kind of the downside of putting a rookie as a captain is he can't be a rookie. He has to hold himself to a different standard, and holding himself in front of the media does translate to how it comes off to fans as well. So they're going to have to make sure they're going to have to protect him. Courtland Sutton, I think sometimes we've seen a very, very, very frustrated Courtland Sutton after a game. He was not. He was extremely composed. So I think that is going to be key for this offense is Cortland Sutton keeping this team together because they need to bounce back. And look, I asked Sean Payton after the game, you've talked all offseason and all training camp in the past few weeks about how important a fast start is. And now you've started 0-2. What's the message to the team? And he said, well, look, we've got 2 really tough games on the road. We have to come together on the road. And so they know it's a them against the world right now. And look, the Tampa Bay Bucks just went into Detroit and won. They're 2-0 coming off a big win last week as well. Broncos, essentially what Sean Payton said is that's a must-win game, and we're only in week 3. Then you go on the road to play Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. They don't seem as much of a juggernaut as a lot of people expected them to be, but they still had a road win today. So they're 1-0, but they're going to have to come together as a team or else, I mean, Sean Payton, once you set a bar as a coach or a leader and you say we got to get to this bar and you don't through the first month of the season and you still have 3 or 4 months left, that's really hard to get your team fired up. So we're going to see what this team's made of. And I think in the next 2 weeks, we're really going to know because I find it hard to believe that there's going to be a big change of things in the next 4 weeks if they're 0-4 after this.
Yeah, Zach, there has to be a big change no matter what. But if this team wants to be successful, I think the defense is going to have to continue playing at a high level and play at an even better level if they want to be in these games and win some of these games. Speaking of the defense, I know that we're missing 2 guys towards the end of the game there. Do you have any updates on JFM or Baron Browning, or that they'll be ready to play next week?
Yeah, that's a great question. JFM dealing with a concussion and Baron Browning ankle. Sean Payton did not give us an injury update after the game. He's not too keen in doing those right after the game. We probably honestly won't know until Wednesday, but we will talk to Sean tomorrow morning to find out there. But those are 2 big guys that the Broncos are going to have to get after Baker Mayfield, who's playing with his hair on fire right now. He's playing lights out. And when it comes to the defense, Todd, I agree with you. The defense was great today, giving up 13 points, but not good enough for a win, which is crazy. Now, to be fair, if you have a rookie quarterback on one side of the football, you expect that everyone else has to step up around him. But it's really the running game that needs to step up. For the second week in a row, Bo Nix was your leading rusher. Inexcusable.
Yeah.
Cannot happen. Another thing, inexcusable. Tyler Beatty comes into the game, has the best run for the Broncos, and then we don't see him again. I mean, what are we doing here? You got to if you have some sort of spark, you got to see that again. But going back to the defensive side, it was clear about halftime, maybe at the end of the third quarter, if the Broncos are going to win this game or really have any chance, the defense was going to have to score, or the defense was going to have to make a big play, a pick that goes to the 10-yard line or something like that. And that's one thing that we have not seen from this defense. We've seen this defense get some sacks, get some pressure. Zach Allen continues to just be an absolute monster. He had a tackle for a loss and a near sack at the very first possession of the second half. He's been great, but you're going to need Pat Surtain to step up and become pick 6 Pat. You're going to need Riley Moss to come up with some plays. And while those guys have been good, the penalties have been brutal. And after the game, we talked to Pat Surtain, and I kind of like that he was pissed off about the penalties. He said they were BS. That's not the way Pat operates. Pat's a very quiet guy, kind of plays by the rules, follows the rules. I like the fire, though, because the team's going to need something here. And like I said, I think everyone is even-keeled right now, which is good. You can't be losing your mind in that locker room right now. But they're going to have some fire. They're going to have some things to give them a spark. And one other thing that I want to point out that Sean dropped in his press conference, which I think is very, very important. Sean Payton talked in his post-game press conference and said, we might be doing too many things on offense. We might be having too many different personnel groupings and changes. And look, that's one of the great things about Sean Payton's offense is he's able to maximize everyone to their strengths, whether it's the offensive linemen, whether it's running backs, whether it's wide receivers. That's why we've seen 7th-round picks turn into best players on Sean Payton's offense before. And that's why we've seen Alvin Kamara turn in from a 3rd-round pick to an all-pro, because he is able to put those guys in positions. But what that means is he's moving guys in and out. And Sean admitted for the first time in his tenure with the Broncos, maybe it's too much. And we as coaches need to take a step back and look at what we're asking guys to do. And I think that might be him pointing at Bo Nix and saying, look, I might be asking too much of Bo Nix right now. I might be sending too much in, too much out, too many moving parts, or we just kind of need to settle down And that is where it starts, because if Bo Nix is a little overwhelmed, if these young players on this team are overwhelmed on offense and it's leading to this, well, then you have to fix that. But sometimes coaches are too arrogant and say, this is how I do things. You guys better get better or it's not going to be good. And he is taking a step back now. I want to see it translate next week. Are guys going to just stay on the field more? And then with the offense, you need playmakers. Javonte Williams averages 1.5 yards per carry. Jaleel averages 2 yards per carry. You have Cortland Sutton get 1 catch for 26 yards. Now, that was a big play, but come on. He's the number one guy. Now, I'm not saying it's all on him, but the playmakers need to step up, because it was Josh Reynolds today, and the Broncos are going to need more.
The last one I got for you real quick, Zach. You talked about, us being caused 2 weeks in as an analyst. There's plenty of season left. This is a learning process. But the fans, obviously are not going to feel that way. They feel that sense of urgency. Being at the stadium tonight, what was the mood in the stadium? And could you feel at the bar there was almost some sarcastic laughs every time there was a first down? Was there tension from the crowd as they were watching the ineptitude of the offense tonight?
Tons of tension. And what just kind of made the salt on the wound there was so many Pittsburgh Steelers fans in here. And in fact, in the fourth quarter, when the Broncos called the timeout on offense, TJ Watt looked at the crowd and started firing them up. And oh my gosh, that is just it was an awful feeling, I'm sure, for every single Broncos fan there, because it's like, man, we can't really fight back against it, because TJ Watt has held the Broncos in that defense to 6 points right now. Like, they are doing their job, and the Broncos offense just isn't. A lot of fans, only 1,000 no-shows, but the Broncos better be ready to do some good giveaways or something if things don't turn around, because we've seen no-show counts really high in the past. And if it maintains, you could feel that people were just fed up, like, another season, not this again. And in the past 7-8 years, that feeling has crept into the building earlier and earlier every single year. About 2018, that feeling was here. And, week 16. And 2019, that feeling was here in week 15. And it just keeps getting closer. And honestly, this is the first time where it's really felt like that at week 2 in September.
Yeah, I think we're about 2 weeks in from guys starting to play for themselves and kind of thus, looking out for them, which, I think players have to, but you definitely want to be a team sport. But I think we're getting away from that shortly. I want to see how the stadium felt when they saw Russell Wilson on the sideline, high-fiving guys and having a good time, because it felt like he wasn't injured. He didn't look injured to me. He just looked like he was having a good time on the sideline.
Yeah, that was a very interesting dynamic here. When the Steelers ran onto the field, the 2 times they did it, one about an hour before kickoff, and then obviously right before the game, there were some boos there. And Russ, played just zero factor in this game. It was not really an emphasis in the building, except for one time when the video scoreboard put up a Russell Wilson jersey, and they had Wilson taped over it, and it said Lutz. Of course, because he's now number 3, and the stadium did kind of go crazy there. But Russ, at the end of the day, he has the last laugh, because he says, okay, it wasn't me, it was you, and this is clear. Now, to be fair, for sure, it was both. And to be fair, and I think the biggest message to Broncos country right now, this stinks, because it does feel like the same thing that we've seen. But it's different, because you do have a rookie quarterback making his second start. If you were to give up on quarterbacks after their second start, then there wouldn't be the John Elways, the Josh Allens, pretty much everyone except for C.J. Stroud last year. So it stinks, and it's the same thing over and over again. But the difference is the hope with Bo Nix. Don't give up on that yet. And I'm truly not giving up on that yet, because, again, it's way too early. Playing Seahawks in Seattle is a really tough way to start your career. Playing the Pittsburgh Steelers defense in Denver, really tough way to start your career. Unfortunately, you go on the road and play a really good Bucs defense, then you play on the road against the Jets defense. So they're going to have to find ways, though, because Bo Nix is going to have success downfield at some point here. You cannot try to build an offense that's sustainable by literally just throwing 5-yard passes. And that might be a long pass in this offense, and you can't rely on trick plays like they had. I love that they had the trick play, but until then, they hadn't had anything an offense. You have to have a more balanced offense. And it really starts with the running game, which was non-existent outside of Bo and one of Tyler Beatty's runs.
Well, Zach, this is great stuff from the arena, man. You really squeezed something out of almost nothing from this game. It was almost nothing exciting, but you know what? Lots of good stuff, and we look forward to all your reports on social media, and then, of course, back on the show tomorrow.
Let's go, guys. Keep faith. Don't lose it yet, but in the next 2 weeks, it might all be lost.
Take care. Right, the thing I want to go to on this, Todd, we were talking about this beforehand. You saw some frustration at the, helmet comes off, little John on the sideline, and you just said we're 2 weeks away from guys playing, for themselves here. Here's the thing that I hate to be asking, but when you talk about the Broncos in your era, for all of my life, first-class organization, I never thought about the team losing faith or this or that. But over the last few years, a lot of turmoil, different quarterbacks, different coaches, different people pulling everything, now a new owner. And I look at it and I go, this is the team fraying? And if so, what does that tell you about where the organization is at if there seems to be some lack of belief and frustrations already?
I just think you have a lot of guys in the building who have seen the season start like this and then end in an unfavorable manner.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting more and more used to it. I think that's why you have the sarcasm in the bar after a first down. We've seen this before. This isn't new to us. We kind of know how the story ends. So for a lot of these guys, it's hard to hold them against them because they've been in this position.
Yeah.
And they've known what it's been like to fight and scratch and get to week 10 or get to week 14 and lose against the Patriots and then you go home. I think that's why it'll be a little bit more playing for myself. And I think a little bit of that has to be in the football game anyway. You need guys to want to be their best for themselves so that the team as a whole can be successful. I just feel like you start thinking about yourself, you start thinking about injuries, you start thinking about next year, you start thinking about are they going to resign me? If they're not going to resign me, then there's things I'm not going to do.
Are they hurting my career even? It could be they're putting me in a bad spot, so I'm doing my own game plan a little.
Yeah, but then you start getting guys that go up to the office and start asking for trades and want to be in a better position. Who knows?
And we're not there. We're not
yet.
there, but
Not
it
yet.
is something that, as Zach pointed out, you sense it more than in years prior, especially when you go back 7-8 years and you talk about that was not a Denver Broncos thing.
No.
That was not a Denver Broncos thing. And it's starting to become, it just seems a little bit, and that's obviously noise that'll pick up in the coming weeks if you don't start to show some positivity. What about the thing he said about too many options? Because I think that was, of all the things Zach said from the locker room, Sean Payton saying maybe I'm giving him too much. That's never a good sign, but at the same time, maybe there's some truth to it.
Yeah, that was always Sean Payton's offense, is that he had 13 personnel and 12 personnel and 20. He always mixed it up for opposing defensive coordinators. But when you have a quarterback at the time in Drew Brees who can handle it, it's awesome. When you have a rookie quarterback who's not ready to handle all the mixing and the matching, it's probably best to kind of slow things down and get things to slow and steady wins the race. You don't have to throw 150 plays out there on every game day. Maybe we throw 60 plays and see how he works. So I think that will help Ball out a lot. Not so much he has to think about, not so much he has to remember, not so many emotions, not so many shifts, not so many checks. I think all of that will ease Bo's mind and allow him to just play a little bit more freer and cleaner.
Is that something you expect going on the road now for a couple of weeks, that you expect kind of a simplified version of the offense?
I would say so. The offense hasn't found much success, but now you're going into some pretty good arenas in the Bucks and the Jets, who are going to be pretty loud and rowdy. So I think it does warrant a more simple game plan. So hopefully we see that.
Now, we were talking again before the show. You played with some young players who were placed, whether fairly or unfairly, in elevated roles. Maybe not necessarily a captain, a rookie who's also a captain. That's unusual. But certainly guys that are in roles that you can't hide from. Some roles, you're not having it tonight, get them out the way, put the different package in.
Yeah.
But Bo Nix represents a guy you can't do that with. So in your experience, what is it like for guys that are in that role, nowhere to hide, the team's success they're the fulcrum of the success, and how do they handle that pressure?
It's extremely hard, and I think the guys who handle it well are the guys that you see, with 10-year careers, and I think the guys that you see that are out of the league in 3 are the guys who can't handle, the pressure very well. And I've had a ton of young quarterbacks, whether it was Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, a lot of guys can't handle that. It's a lot of pressure, man. You know what I'm saying? Not only do you have the team and all of them like looking at you because they know you're the guy. But the whole city is watching you. They're tweeting you. You see all the messages.
Right.
As much as you try to hide away from it and not get on your social media, you see when people are talking bad about you. And it's a lot of pressure to contend with. And for a lot of the young guys that I played with, they didn't handle it well because I don't think that they were able to bottle that up and use it as motivation. It more so put them into like a turtle shell.
You get in your own head.
Exactly. And you're thinking too much. And then now all of a sudden you're not an animal on the field that you were, that we loved, that we saw. And that's why the reason why we drafted you.
I will say, and my last question here was sort of what is this next week all about? But this is why sports are so great. Look, I'm not trying to polish a turd here. These two games have been tough to watch. They have not been entertaining. But if you step back and try to look at long-form storytelling about this Denver Broncos, and if this is a new era, right, the Sean Payton, Bo Nix era, it is interesting because of what you just said. There are guys that they hit a little turmoil, and it breaks them. This next 2 weeks, going on the road for a couple weeks against good teams, to me it's kind of like, I'm curious. He doesn't even have to play well. I'd obviously want the Broncos season to continue, which would mean wins. I don't think you can go 0-4, 1-3 even is tough. So you've got to find a way to get wins. But even short of that, I want to see Bo Nix as a guy that I walk away from these next 2 weeks and go, at least he's tough. At least he's tough mentally, physically, and he handled what was a horrible first 2 weeks, and he handled them in a way that makes me think there's something. And to me, it's almost that's the storyline. Maybe the only storyline with the Broncos I'm compelled with. How does he respond, not even playing, just mentally?
No, yeah, I want to see Bo Nix just get better. I think that's one of the keys, to this entire season. It's just week to week to see a progression from him. I thought that today was a little bit better. I think you say the numbers are better, right?
Well, the numbers were better, but they were really bad last week. But yeah, they were a little better here.
I mean, he throws the pick at the end of the game, which is horrible, but at the same time, he probably would have naturally entered the game with one interception.
Correct.
And over 200 passing yards for the first time. So, not saying it was a all-around better game, but I just want to see him progress from week to week. He doesn't have to be Superman, but he does need to get better.
Okay. Let's go quickly here. Let's just check around the football league real quick. I want to get your quick thoughts on some of the other games that happened, just very briefly. Cowboys started hot last week. Offense looked incredible. The Saints come into their territory, 44-19. They put it on in Dallas. Just one quick thought on that game?
$60 million. It's my first thought.
That's your first.
$60 million for 19 points.
Yeah, there you go, man. It was all feel good too. This is what's so funny about the NFL. We obviously just opened DLLS. We got the Cowboys beat over there. The vibes were as high as they could possibly be coming into this week. As you mentioned, you get your key guys locked up after a summer of wondering to know, and then you give up 44 points to score 19.
Craziness.
Things change like that. Buccaneers 20-16 over the Lions. That's the next opponent. Any quick thoughts there?
No, I think the Bucs are going to be a lot better than I expected them to be this year. It seems like Baker and Mike Evans kind of have a good relationship going, and Mike Evans has been good no matter who his quarterback is, but it's just seeming like Baker is picking it up and hit his second win in the NFL.
You like inept offense? How about Packers beating the Colts 16-10? Colts also fall to 0-2. Anything there?
No.
Cellar dwellers?
Malik Willis was the quarterback for that game, too.
Yeah, because Anthony Richardson got hurt, right?
No, Jordan Love.
Oh, yeah,
so
you're right.
So it was Malik Willis, and he started the whole game, and he beat the Colts.
Oh, shoot.
Jets 24-17 over the Titans. Titans also fall to 0-2. A handful of 0-2 teams still out here in the AFC.
Is that we feel good about that? Is that what that's like our positive.
When I was trying to tell some positives, I'm trying to show some other losers
We're not
here.
the only ones that lose all the damn time.
49ers get the big win last week. They fall to the Vikings 23-17 this week. Quick thought. Nothing. Seahawks get the win over the Patriots. Seahawks 2-0.
The Seahawks are good, man. I know they're not like, superstars, but they're not a bad team,
They feel like the Steelers of the West. They really do. Just
find a way to go.
Just find a way.
They just find a way, and then they just keep getting good enough QB play and a good head coach that can just keep them going for a little while longer.
Here's the real reason for around the league here. The Chargers get the win 26-3 over the Panthers. You also get a win. Raiders over the Ravens 26-3, and of course the Chiefs on a last-second field goal beat the Bengals. So the division goes 3-0 today.
3-1, but
3-1. Sorry, outside of the Broncos.
But I thought that we were going to have an easier time in the AFC West with the Raiders and Gardner Minshew, and then also the Chargers with a new head coach. But they're beating the teams they should beat, and they're beating the teams they shouldn't beat. I don't really know what to say about that.
Yeah. All right, we got some super chats to get to here. You hear? 7 of them. We got 7 of them. I'm sure they're all happy. Kyle says, when is it a play calling mishap and not Bo just being inaccurate? Second goal interceptions in the red zone. Difference if Stidham starts. So he's got a couple questions here. Play calling mishap versus just inaccurate. I think that pass was just, that interception in the end zone was just a bad pass. I mean, I don't think that.
Yeah, I think it was a bad read, bad pass. And Stidham started. I think if you were to pull Bo Nix out today and have Stidham start on Sunday, that would ruin your
He's done.
quarterback.
It's true.
Your 12th pick of the 2024 will be done. He's like, I think mentally, I don't think anybody can come back from anything. You see what Baker has done and whatever. But mentally, I think that will put him in a bad space, getting 2 games and then losing your job.
Yeah. All right, what else we got? Tom asks, oh boy, Bo don't know football, long season. Man, it is, I mean, it's fair. It is fair. I don't want this Bo don't know. Do you know the reference Bo knows? Bo knows everything back in the day. I didn't know if that was something the kids knew.
It's a classic, It's the same way we look at Lincoln Park, the same way we look at Nirvana.
Park?
It's all a classic,
Lincoln Park not that old. Nirvana's a little bit older, but
I'm trying to make Adam feel real old.
You succeeded. Bo don't know is going to be a tough one. Let's not make that happen. John Steele says, this is Auburn Bo. Concerns we had are here. It's part of the ride, man. Bo at Oregon had the better weapons every week. I mean, again, that is part of it, right? You're on a good team. College football is a little uneven, so you do get some vanilla defenses, as you say, but I don't think that's all of it. I think he's better than this. This is a
blip.
It's a guy being thrown to the fire. I mean, he has like some leveling up to do, I think.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Chris Peters says, bet the exact score for this game and hit. Might as well capitalize on this mediocre team and share with my DNVR peeps. Man, this is what it's all about. We suffer together. You did not watch this terrible game by yourself. And by the way, congrats on hitting the exact score, man. 13-6. How did it feel playing that bet?
Like a bittersweet, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a Broncos fan, that has to be bittersweet, right?
That's also like an insane, 13-6. That's definitely
that feels
score.
So bad to bet on. You're like, oh, I'm getting ready for the game. 13-6. I bet you that's what it is. Nailed it. Andrew says Bucks are going to score 70 on us next week. Tank for wide receiver 1 and more high picks to get a faster defense. Rather have fast linebackers, so technique versus this group.
Well, I don't think our linebackers are the problem. I honestly don't. I think there's a lot of other problems, and I don't think it's the linebackers right now, if I'm being honest.
Is this the bit you hear? Is this the bit always protecting his guys?
No, because he criticizes them so hard.
Oh, really? It's the opposite bit.
So the thing about, even though Sean said it today, you criticize your position more.
Yes.
And it's so funny that everybody is out here clowning on the linebackers, and Todd's like, I know they're not doing anything wrong. They're all training camp.
By the way, incredible pregame show today, and excited. Those guys are fun to have in studio, man. Excited to have them some more. And then Andrew says, Dulcich can't catch, can't block, or run routes. Why is he on the field? And if you need a tight end like this, I'm available. I also have a hamstring injury.
I mean, I don't think he's wrong right now.
I know.
That's the sad part. And I think Dulcich can get better.
You were frustrated
he hasn't
with
been
him
there.
today.
He hasn't been there. And then when you're there, we need you.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is be gone and come back, and the team needs you. And you this is all you have to do is go semi-ball, and you get he's getting max money.
Yeah,
he can be top 5 tight end pay wise if he just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't like this, man. I don't like this. I don't like where the Broncos are at through 2 weeks. I don't like where the vibes are at. Broncos country is struggling right now, but you know what? The community's still showing out. Super chats, everybody in the chat kind of suffering together, man. Which is what it's all about. You hear great work on the 1s and 2s. Todd,
real quick before we exit out, somebody in the comments said Lincoln Park is 25 years old.
I saw it. You brought it up on camera. You didn't have to bring it up to me.
I'm bringing it up,
but 25 years old is old.
It's only 3 years older than me, so to me, it's an old band.
Oh, dang.
It's so wild to me that is classic. That's classic rock, but I guess it is these days.
Wow.
Everybody, you're going to have the regular squad back again tomorrow, so don't worry. I'm only here to fill in for the week, but we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And then, like I said, we're not going to shine something that ain't there. This was a rough 2 weeks for the Broncos, but still some good storylines to follow as we go forward. Hit that like button for us on the way out. Keep hope alive.
We all silly like the mayor.